AITA for calling my boyfriend's little sister racist because she likes K-pop? For background, my parents and I, F21, moved from South Korea to America when I was 13. Both my parents are Korean too. My boyfriend, M22, and I have been dating for 6 months. We go to college together. My family lives in the same city that our college is. His family, however, lives in another city, so I haven't had the chance to meet them until now. His parents invited us to spend the weekend over at their house so they can meet me. Up until now I have only spoke a few times on the phone with his parents, but not with his siblings. He has 3 siblings. An older brother, 25, sister, 13, and brother, 9. The problem with his sister is that apparently she's a K-pop fan. My boyfriend had already told me this prior to meeting her, and he told me to get ready. I thought that meant that she would ask me to say something in Korean or something like that. It has happened to me before, even by strangers in the street. It's annoying. Well, first things first, she greeted me with an hello in Korean. I faked a laugh and greeted her too. It wouldn't have been such a deal if that was it. But then she continued calling me Unnie and asking me if I called my boyfriend Oppa and such things. She then started asking where did I lived when I was in Korea, if I had met any idols, if I ever tried to be an idol myself, etc. She insisted on sitting next to me, and she was taking photos of me eating because I looked like an idol. Like, what does that even mean? I'm just trying to eat. Her mother had to tell her to stop because I was very visibly uncomfortable. After eating, she wanted me to go dance some K-pop choreographies with her because, you know, every Korean knows how to dance, I guess. We stayed there over the weekend, so it was 2 days of not stop of this kind of behavior. I was so glad when it was time to leave. As soon as we pulled out the driveway, I told my boyfriend, "You were not kidding. Your sister is worse than I imagined." He laughed and said it was expected of her to act like this. So I told him, "So she's always this racist, huh?" He took offense on that. He told me that his sister wasn't racist at all. She was only excited to meet me. I said that all she did during our visit was to make assumptions about me and talk to me in a racist way. Like, come on. Calling me Unnie when she doesn't even know the context of the word has to be racist for Americans too, right? Now he's mad at me. I am mad at him too for not understanding my side too. So who's right? Not every racist is a pitchfork-carrying racist. There is also subtle racism. It's valid for people who endure racism, as little as it may be compared to other expressions of racism, to call it out. Also, a 13-year can behave racist, even if it's just because they were uneducated. Racism is still racism. It doesn't mean 13 years old needs to be written off as a racist. It means she needs to be taught what's appropriate and what's not. Liking K-pop is appropriate. Taking all these pics while Op eats, saying they look just like an idol, etc., inappropriate. It's not OP's job to educate, though. I'd imagine if their partner truly cared about them, the partner would take this opportunity to educate their sister, opposed to invalidating their partner. I don't know how I'm reading so many YTs. You took this BS for 2 days without complaining. You did your very best to not be confrontational in front of his family, even though you had every right to. You only complained in the car to your boyfriend, and somehow that's still not enough? People calling you Ta are people who think it's worse to be labeled a racist than it is to suffer non-stop racial objectification for 2 days. The kid is not a monster or Hitler Youth material. But the way she treated you was racist. She let her obsession get over basic manners, and some adult from her family should be letting her know her behavior is not acceptable. I mean, she was taking pictures of you eating? What the hell? NTA 100 times. You must have felt like you were the main attraction at the zoo. NTALMAO. The comments are insane. Being a K-pop fan and interested in the culture is one thing. Being creepily obsessive and fetishizing Koreans is a whole other thing. She may not have been malicious about it, but she needs to learn that this is not acceptable behavior, and it's weird now that she's young. Not that it is OP's job to do this, but damn. NTA. 13 is a good age for the little sister to learn about not fetishizing people. Which is what she was doing to you. She assumed that because you're Korean you must be into K-pop, know all about the idols, and know how to do the dances she sees in K-pop videos. Yes, some of it was childish curiosity, but she crossed a line by taking photos of you, especially when you were eating, and treating you like a cardboard cutout, or her imagined, stereotypical and skewed version of what she thinks all Koreans must be like. I'm guessing that if you weren't Korean, or she wasn't into K-pop, she would have just thought of you as her brother's girlfriend and treated you normally, instead of looking at you as some kind of shiny, exotic new toy that only existed for her edification. She needs to be told that what she did and the way she treated you was racist, and that it made you deeply uncomfortable, because she wasn't seeing you as a human with your own agency. She wasn't even seeing you as her brother's, so you were basically her My First Barbie, Korean edition. Your boyfriend needs to tell his sister that her behavior and attitude was disrespectful, that the way she treated you was racist, and that she doesn't get to use you to indulge her K-pop fantasies. If he's brushing this off, it might be time to think about the relationship moving forward, because when something like this happens again, it doesn't sound like he's going to be in your corner, especially when it comes to his family. NTA. From the title I assumed something different, but no, she makes you into a racial trope, which is not okay. NTA. The biggest thing that concerns me is that they aren't trying to correct her on certain things and to help her understand what behavior is okay and what isn't. She is the way she is because her family isn't trying to help her appreciate the culture and learn that she can ask questions and be interested without offending others. She's 13. He's acting like she's 7 or something. I'm a Korean American adoptee, and I have some mixed feelings on this. I do not think racist is the correct term, as the sister was not being negative or antagonistic against Koreans. It's simply ignorance, and that can be changed with communication and education. Firstly, I understand the irritation of people's ignorance, especially with the Hallyu wave that has happened over the last 10 years. Korean culture and music have risen to an insane international hype. People get super excited to meet Koreans, and only know what's been shown in media, like on the All K-pop site or even BuzzFeed and TikTok. I get flustered when people approach me about Korea and the culture. I have had to educate myself on Korean culture to better connect with my homeland. I always tell people that educating yourself on a culture is really useful, and that I cannot speak on Korean culture, as I haven't lived there since infancy. It sounds like the sister was super hyped to speak to someone from Korea. At 13, when I was super into anime, and met other Asian folks, was raised in the South, so very little Asian people around me growing up, I get super excited, not only to be around someone that looked like me, but who maybe shared the same interests, but would occasionally be incorrect. It sounds like the sister wanted to greet you in your native language, which I think is endearing. For instances where she was using Korean in the wrong manner, you could have either politely explained the purpose of "Unni" and "Oppa" to her, or have politely recommended sources to better learn more about Korean language. I know it isn't your responsibility to educate her. However, if it bothers you, Correcting her ignorance in a polite way is a simple enough way to have her stop. I think it would be different if she was an older teen. But at 13, when I was super excited at the prospect of connecting with someone who might be someone that I could talk to about cultural or fandom stuff, the excitement can overshadow manners. Who is to say she isn't somewhat neurodivergent and didn't pick up on the awkwardness? I don't think the sister did anything out of malice at all. I think what needs to happen is more communication with your boyfriend on why such things bother you. And either you or him may be able to sit with the sister and also explain why such behavior can be overwhelming and offensive. It sounds like you were racially objectified, and it's valid that you're not okay with it. NTA. Because nobody gets to tell you what you find racist against yourself. If they aren't of Korean descent, they have no say in the matter. NTA. If people had to be fully aware that what they are doing is racist for it to count as racism, then no one would ever be called out and nothing would ever change. As someone who likes K-pop, NTA, it's okay that she enjoys a particular genre of music, but at 13 she should know that taking pictures of people eating is entirely inappropriate. And making you do K-pop dances is just weird. She clearly has a single stereotyped view of your whole culture. And someone needs to, gently, have a chat with her about how what she sees idols do is just a tiny snapshot of what it might mean to be Korean. And trying to make all Koreans she meets fit into that box is racist stereotyping. Even if it's unintentional, which I'm sure it is. I know how it feels when people say I look like every other mixed race person or start trotting out stereotypes about black people around me. And she's doing the same thing to you op, even if she doesn't mean to. Here is a little girl who is completely in love with Korean culture. And she gets to meet her first, real, live, Korean. You had an opportunity to help her learn what is appropriate. Well, in my culture you wouldn't call someone you just met, or, do you know how to rap? Well, just like everyone in your country is not a rap artist, everyone in my country is not a K-pop star. Instead you just got resentful and called her racist. She's not racist. She just needs to learn about stereotypes. YTA. Remember back when being a racist meant you look down on other races? Now you're racist if you look up to others too. None of you are assholes. You just gotta talk it out. She's 13 and has a lot of learning to do. She in no way realized how uncomfortable she made you. It also sounds like she thinks you're cool and wants you to think she's cool. I'm sure this stuff gets old for you, but it could have been handled better by both you and your boyfriend. I will not be calling an ignorant 13-year-old a racist even though she was acting racist. Sounds like she was just trying to hard. I'm guessing a lot of you are American going by the comments. As a Scottish person, I get asked a lot of these similar questions from Americans about Scotland and Ireland. Keep that same energy the next time you want to rant about how you're 3% Scottish or Irish and asking us a bunch of dumb questions. NTA. Her behavior was racist, but many people don't have a proper understanding of what racism is to appreciate that. May get downvoted, but you're NTA. The problem isn't that she likes K-pop. It isn't a problem that she knows choreo to her favorite group. The problem is the BF's sister reducing op to a stereotype and calling her nicknames without ever actually checking if op was okay with it. She insisted on sitting next to me and she was taking photos of me eating because I looked like an idol. The sister is treating op like a museum attraction. And that's not okay. Taking photos of someone and making them uncomfortable is never okay. It doesn't matter how old the person is or what their intentions are. And if they are children or incapable of understanding, then it is on the parents and/or family of that person to educate them. Stop putting the emotional labor on the people who've been made to feel uncomfortable in the first place. I'm just trying to eat. Her mother had to tell her to stop because I was very visibly uncomfortable. 13 is old enough to start understanding social cues. And the mom, fortunately, stepped in. So, the ultimate question, was she racist? Yes. No matter how well-intentioned she was. Yes. You don't go up to black people with textured hair and ask to touch it because you think it's pretty. You don't start wearing bindi as per South Asian cultures without understanding the context and whether it's actually appropriate for you. You don't reduce Koreans down to a K-pop stereotype and ignore their entirely individual personality and identity. She may not have been malicious, but it doesn't mean her behaviors are absolved. And her family, OP's BF, should be educating, not jumping down OP's throat when she expresses her concerns. In Ta, it is such a weird behavior. And the people saying YTA are definitely not subject of racism. It's very ignorant behavior to call a Korean person like that. And the assumptions she made were very racist. NTA, I'm black American and white people do the same things to me. Sometimes it's really annoying and they don't seem to understand some of their actions, although they may not be intentional, can be a bit prejudiced and racist. NTA, these comments haven't really experienced racism in any way that counts. Op is clearly pointing out that the sister never talked to her or made any attempt to interact with her in any way that wasn't about her race. All interactions were made on the a fetishized caricature of what the teenager assumed to represent the entirety of OP's character. It's like that scene in Get Out where the dad talks to the MC about Obama and rap and whatnot. It might not be palatable to average American, but feelings of exclusion and otherness that come with reinforced stereotypes are very much part of the racism that much of the immigrant diaspora perceives. Also, news flash guys, this is coming from a hardcore ex-weeb herself. But 13 is old enough to be the in this situation. I was a anime weeb, but I was also old enough to understand that people are feeling uncomfortable in a situation. And also try to talk to people about things that aren't my singular interest. Asshole. Again, might be a stretch, but Op is in no way the wrong. Edit. Also, with the logic of her just being a kid, children are never ever in the wrong because they don't mean it and they're just excited. The fact is, the same actions in someone just 2 years older would be borderline insane. You can be an asshole because you're ignorant. Because ignorance can harm other people. The only difference in children is, it's easier to correct, and harder to blame on an inherent character flaw, but for any real correction to occur, you have to admit that the sister is wholeheartedly in the wrong. I think I'd maybe say nah. You were absolutely being racially objectified. But I wouldn't be surprised if your boyfriend and her sister are totally unaware of why that behavior was racist and what the context around a lot of it is. It doesn't make it okay. But a conversation about it might be helpful. But then again, it shouldn't be your job to educate people on their racist behaviors. A person shrugging light skin tone.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.